Another busy Tesla stock news day. I also got a new mic. I'm still adjusting the settings, but let me know how you like it. Tesla has introduced the Model Y rear-wheel drive in the US for $44,000 roughly, which is $3,750 less expensive than the base Model Y all-wheel drive was previously. Now, discontinued with a $7,500 EV tax credit, it costs just $36,500. It goes to 0 to 60 in 6.6 seconds, and it has 260 miles of range. However, this is not the cheapest the Model Y rear-wheel drive has ever been in the US. Before, in February of 2021, it was even lower. It was $38,990, so that's a difference of $5,000. But if you adjust for inflation, then it's roughly the same, basically. In the long term, I think we are actually eventually going to come back to these low prices because Tesla is innovating and Tesla is cutting a lot of these costs. Also, Tesla is making a lot more of these Model Ys. It's the world's best-selling car, pretty much. What's also good is that this version is 260 miles of range, but the one from 2 years ago was 244 miles of range. It's important to point out that the old one did 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds. And the new one does it in 6.6 seconds, which is still fairly fast. And I think many consumers will actually prefer to have a little bit more range instead of making the car a little bit faster. Gear says this is positive since it is good for volume. It is not a price cut since many Model Y buyers won't want a rear-wheel drive version or a version that does 0 to 60 in only 6.6 seconds. This is good value for money. I generally agree. I mean, for many people, 6.6 seconds actually is still pretty fast. If it is your first EV and before you, let's say, used to have a Toyota, yeah, this will feel pretty fast because also you accelerate instantly. Some Tesla bears will say that this is a price cut for Tesla. Well, how about the discontinued 4680 Model Y all-wheel drive that had very low range? Was that a price increase then when it was discontinued? You can't have it both ways. If Tesla did not have that model earlier, then I would say maybe you could consider that somewhat of a price cut. But this vehicle is also different enough where if you get it now, if you want more range later or you want more performance, I mean, right now you're only getting 260 in terms of range and 6.6 seconds in terms of speed. Here, yeah, you're getting quite a bit more. So later, there's a pretty clear path to actually upgrade. For me personally, up to 4 seconds 0 to 60 speed is actually fairly useful. Anything more than that, it's more just for fun and enjoyment. And while 6.6 seconds is fairly fast compared to Toyotas, I'm telling you, 4.8 is quite a bit faster. This actually makes quite a bit of sense. Tesla has brought back the white interior for the Model Y in Canada. Think about this. If Tesla is not refreshing the Model Y immediately over here in the US, and Canada gets their Model Ys from China with new lights and upgraded rims and a few other features, better noise, vibration, and harshness improvements over the old Model Y, I think it would make some American customers a little bit upset. So this makes sense to me. It also indicates that perhaps the Model Y is not going to really be updated in the next few weeks in the US. Here's some good news. The refresh Model 3 Highland launches in Thailand. I didn't realize that would rhyme. Volkswagen has hired a former Tesla engineering director to help the company catch up in the electric vehicle software race. The new Volkswagen executive also worked at Rivian and Google's Android automotive division in the past. He will be tasked with the development of a new software platform that will be used in Volkswagen's future electric vehicles. He worked as a director of engineering at Tesla for 2 years before joining Google's Android automotive project in 2019. Following this, he moved to Rivian, where he served as the vice president of software platform until his departure. So this person doesn't seem like the type to stay with one company for a long time. He will probably move on again. And he hasn't been with Tesla for quite a few years now, so this is not a problem. This wheel design looks new and possibly new aero covers as well. It's a blurry image, but looks good to me. In the meantime, someone really cannot wait any longer. Gregor Truck says that this is a new Cybertruck wrap. What do you think? Me personally, this specific one, I'm not a big fan of it, but it seems like perhaps you will be able to choose from different wraps. Otherwise, how come we are seeing all of these different wraps? JP Morgan has raised its Tesla stock price target to $135 from $120 while maintaining an underweight rating. Such bravery here. So admirable, right? We primarily attribute the continued collapse in Tesla consensus deliveries volume, revenue, earnings, and cash flow to a mis-extrapolation of earlier trends with a pinch of irrational exuberance thrown in, Brinkman wrote. I think, and this is just a guess, they probably flipped the chart by accident. And I mean, this chart goes up so fast that it's literally off the chart. It doesn't even fit in my monitor here. Morgan Stanley makes a pretty interesting point here in their new research note. I was speaking with a car rental licensee who reported the experience of body shop repair costs for some EVs being 3x comparable ICE vehicles, a function of, number one, the technical expertise in the field to handle more exotic repairs, which means that will be solved over time, definitely. And number two, a current inability of EV players to manage the flow of repairs in a timely manner. Hertz has spoken to challenges it has faced in terms of unexpectedly high expenses related to repair costs for its EV fleet. Approximately 10% of Hertz's America's fleet is Tesla. Look for this topic to get greater attention during their Q3 results next month. Anyone who seriously thinks this is a problem is thinking short term. In the long term, obviously the repair costs will be lower overall. But in the short term, yes, the repairs can be pretty pricey. I have one friend that had her Model Y repaired, and that was a bit pricey. And then another friend that had her Model 3 repaired, and that was also pretty pricey for a relatively simple thing. Both of these vehicles were in minor car crashes. The worst part was that it took a few months to get the parts. James is working on his Q3 earnings projections. He says it will be an ugly quarter. I will probably land under 60 cents per share, and Wall Street currently sits at 73 cents per share, but they probably have not yet adjusted for the delivery miss. Here are some key ideas. Auto cost of goods sold will be below Q1 but above Q2 due to idle capacity during the quarter and lower production. Average selling price will be negatively impacted by ongoing inventory discounting and deep S and X price cuts, and lower S and X proportion in the overall model mix, offset slightly by a more favorable Model Y to 3 mix because we sell more Model Ys because there were no Model 3s to sell in September. He expects record energy and service sales / gross margin, and Q3 will truly be a bottom for Tesla auto margin unless Tesla cuts Model Y in Q4, which James does not expect. James also says that 22 to 23,000 of Tesla's 97,000 total global Q4 inventory is sitting on the ocean. It puts it into perspective how low Tesla's inventory really is. Billion-dollar fund manager Ross Gerber says Tesla missed deliveries numbers, focused on upgrades, no need to push production. They have equilibrium at 1.8 million cars. If they increase production, prices might fall further. No doubt Tesla needs to focus on demand creation. One day is to get the Cybertruck out, and also to work on the next generation car and get that car out also as fast as possible. James Stevenson just posted a few charts to illustrate how Tesla is doing. If you looked at this back in 2020, you would have thought, yeah, maybe the growth story is now over. Look at how little Tesla grew. And now here's that same chart, but updated. As you can see, the number really is completely off the chart. Elon even commented on his post, "Your predictions have been very accurate." James replied with a very humble response, saying that he was wrong a few times before and that he just strives to be less wrong. Very good response. Gary Black just updated his catalyst list, and he still thinks that there's going to be an FSD OEM licensing deal in Q4. Emmett here has some pretty good thoughts about Rivian. Maybe I'm biased as a long-term Tesla stock investor for over 12 years now, but I believe this is the best Rivian stock will ever look for investors at a $23 billion valuation, and it's all downhill from here, so beware. Once Cybertruck is officially out, demand of their top product will drop. A lot has to go right still from here even to warrant a $10 to $15 billion valuation, and there's no biographies on their leader. No sleeping on factory floors, no AI team, no top list of war for engineers, etc. There's an update for Tesla vehicles. If an airbag is deployed, hazard lights will automatically activate and flash faster to improve visibility. Tesla Model Y overtook RAV4 to become New Zealand's best-selling car in September. You will see a lot more of these stories in the near future. There's a new video of the Cybertruck's interior. James thinks the interior looks incredible. You can see the lights, the interior lights, over there, and I do like the steering wheel. I especially like the roof. That is really nice. And I assume you can move these out of the way if you need to. One of my favorite Model X features is being able to move the sun visor to the side, giving the car this super open feel. It feels like you are sort of outside. And you can also see the user interface here. One interesting thing is that the icons are on the left side instead of at the bottom, which I think makes it quite a bit easier to open your apps while driving, because you don't need to reach down and to the right. You just reach sort of a little bit to the right, and it's a bit higher up, so it doesn't take as much attention away from driving. Oh, and turns out it is not clear whether this is a break-in or an employee, but Tesla is likely investigating and taking legal action against the individual. Here's the first video that I have seen where it appears that the driver actually floored the Cybertruck. And here it is. It is about to go as fast as he can. Looks pretty fast to me. The speed of the Cybertruck, I don't think it will disappoint. Reuters is reporting that GM and Ford furlough another 500 workers due to the UAW strike. A Cruise Robotaxi runs over a pedestrian that got hit by a human-driven car. So that human-driven car first hit the pedestrian, and then that seemingly threw the pedestrian over into the path of the Cruise taxi, and then the person was unfortunately stuck under the Robotaxi. This was a pretty serious accident, but I don't think you can really fully blame the Robotaxi here. But there's also no video footage that we can access, so we don't really know for sure. This is actually good news for Tesla. A California federal judge has ruled that a group of people who own cars made by Tesla must pursue claims that the company misled the public about its autopilot features in individual arbitration rather than court. The ruling marks a significant victory for Tesla, as it means the company will not have to face class action claims on behalf of much larger groups of vehicle owners. Sandy Monroe commented on the story, "I was on a huge list of Tesla owners by someone I never met. When I sent a note to have my name removed, I got back a long list of people that also wanted to be removed. This is a fishing expedition by a clown that wants free Musk money. This is the USA land of blood-sucking lawyers." I don't like these lawyers that are looking for a case where there's no case. Elon replied to this post from Ray by saying exactly. And I think Ray makes some good points here. "California, my home state, is probably the most liberal state in America. If Elon's political views carry more weight on people's purchase decisions, as suggested by some here on X, logically, Tesla sales would tank and people would flock to other brands instead. The fact is, Tesla sales went up 62.3% in Q2, while overall BEV sales up only 22.7%. You literally see Teslas everywhere, and many with new license plates. Elon, like everyone else, has his own opinions about anything, whether we agree or not. I wouldn't worry too much as long as Tesla keeps moving forward with innovations in vehicle engineering, FSD, robotics, manufacturing, storage, insurance, semi, supercharging, etc. Do people agree with the views of the oil companies from which they buy gasoline? I doubt it," says Elon. And I think that's a fair point. However, people only look at what they see in the news, and you don't see in the news anything about, oh, this CEO of this oil company did this and this and that, and he said this about politics. You don't see that. So people just judge you based on what they see and what they hear. So a horrible person that is not in the news may be perceived to be a better person than someone who is in the news, who is heavily criticized by everyone. It is unfair, but that is life. Starlink is now available across the US, so if previously you were not able to get it and you need it, get it. It's a really good product. Honda reveals new electric SUV and sedan concepts in the latest video, but I'd like to point out that the concept of not going bankrupt is releasing actual cars instead of concept cars, if you want to successfully transition during this EV transition. A Tesla Cybertruck was spotted with Starlink. This will be quite valuable to first responders. Farzad just put together a new chart, and the new rear-wheel drive Tesla Model Y is a clear winner. Just looking at the price and then the range and the speed and the frunk and the cargo and then eventually the cost per mile in terms of range that you get for the price that you are paying. Tesla Model Y is clearly the #1 choice. Elon says that he almost never reads legacy news anymore. What's the point of reading 1,000 words about something that was already posted on X several days ago? And when you read legacy media, they don't have community now, so that's where X really excels. Volvo has announced the price of their new entry-level EX30 EV. The cheapest one starts at $36,200 and it has 275 miles of range. Pretty good. But if these vehicles are not eligible for the tax credit, then yeah, it is hard to compete. We have an update about the Tesla Semi. About 70 have been built to date, and Tesla Semi trucks have replaced diesel trucks on its route to bring battery packs from Gigafactory in Nevada to Fremont Factory, which is a 260-mile trip. It has done it with the same load and the same route, proving that it can replace diesel trucks. We also learned that Tesla is using driver inverter from the Cybertruck and carbon wrap motors from the latest Model S and Model X in the Tesla Semi. It is now also confirmed that Tesla is planning to have a sleeper cab version of the Tesla Semi once it has deployed its long-distance mega chargers. Anyone that's interested in Musk's companies needs to read this book, The Innovator's Dilemma. Even Elon is taking the advice and says, we'll read it next time I'm in a dilemma.
So Jay, not only are you going to get the chance to see the low roof Semi, but you're going to get a chance to tow it.
All right, let's do it. Oh, this trailer?
Yeah. There we go. Now give it a little throttle.
I don't even feel like I'm pulling anything.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You know, we're pushing a good load back there, 60, 70,000 pounds gross vehicle weight, and you're not feeling it.
You gotta make Albuquerque by morning.
I used to think these were illegal.
Well, one of the reasons we went to this store, it was easier for the truckers to get in and out of. But if you look at actually the form of the truck and the way that the cabin actually starts to pull in, putting the hinge on the front was just going to make it really hard. We would have to square up the truck and then we wouldn't get this really teardrop shape in the front. So the hinges in the back where it's relatively flat.
If you've ever been in a Tesla, this is very familiar.
Yeah, the screens are right out of the Model 3 and Model Y, so same carryover. A lot of the UI elements are similar as well.
Right.
We tend to use the right screen for more of your interactive, so you've got your map, you've got your controls for the driver, all your media, etc. And on the left is where all your readouts are, so your charge, your speed, the status of the vehicle, air pressure, etc.
I actually prefer this to heads up, because heads up is on my windshield, and I always feel like, I know I'm looking through it.
Slightly in the way.
Yeah, but I prefer this. Even braking doesn't feel like I'm pushing a big load behind, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we brought over a brake system that's actually commonly used in Europe, and so it's brake by wire. So it's still pneumatic actuated, but it's electrically commanded in its primary mode, and so it gives us much better fidelity and control over the braking of the vehicle, and so it results in a much smoother braking than in the traditional North American systems.
I not know, we just stuck an extra 60,000 pounds on it.
In the long term, I think the Tesla Semi is going to be very successful. Also, how do you guys like this new microphone? I took off the windscreen and therefore I had to pull it back. I think it sounds better when it's closer. I took off the windscreen because it still has that super strong petroleum smell and I actually got a headache from it. I think this mic makes my voice sound a bit clearer. Yesterday I also posted another exclusive Patreon video, but this one from a few days ago is getting more positive feedback than some of the other ones. This is about the question that every all-in Tesla stock investor must answer. And for comparison, this is how the old mic sounds. By joining my Patreon, you will get access to how much I think it is fair to pay per Tesla share each year between 2023 2023 and 2033. If you sign up for the investor tier of support, you will also get my valuation model of Tesla stock with a 45-minute video walkthrough. And YouTube says you should watch this video next, but if you haven't finished watching that discussion about the future where Elon Musk participates, watch this one first. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Matt Photius.